Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of So Close, a Hong Kong action movie from 2002 that stars Shu Qi, Zhao Wei, and Karen Mok. It was directed by Corey Yuen. Lynn, played by Shu Qi, and her sister Sue, played by Zhao Wei, are computer hackers, assassins, and espionage specialists who use their late father's secret satellite technology to gain an advantage over their rivals and law enforcement agents. At the beginning of the film, they infiltrate a high-security building and assassinate Chow, the chairman of a top company in China. After their successful mission, a police inspector named Kong, played by Karen Mok, is assigned to investigate the case, and she manages to track down the assassins. In the meantime, the contractor wants to kill our ladies to silence them, and the cat and mouse chase becomes more complicated as both the police and the thugs are out to get to Lynn and Sue. Now, one important point to be made is that this movie can get pretty cheesy. Yeah, it can. We'll get to the action in a minute, but the cheese is evident from the non-action stuff as well. There's a lot of slow motion and almost like fashion shots of like the actresses as they act very stylish during their scenes. It looks like they're in a photo shoot sometimes, And for example, like their hair will float up in the air even though they're walking indoors. Like, I'm not sure if the air conditioning kicked in or what's going on in this. It's kind of lame, but these ladies look so good, it's amusing to watch. Some of the music at times can get cheesy as well. Now, there's a romantic subplot in this movie that's pretty awful. It has to be one of the worst romance subplots in a Girls with Guns movie. Should have been excluded from the film entirely, in my opinion. This dude is played by a Korean actor, this love interest, and he was on the rise, like in the Korean film industry and TV industry during the late 90s, early 2000s, so the filmmakers here probably threw him into the movie to increase international exposure, but thankfully they do not spend too much time on that subplot. But I think overall, the main characters are pretty likable here. So Close is really the movie that made me a fan of almost all of the actors that appear in this. I do like their interaction. Shu is the more responsible and experienced hit woman, while Zhao is the wilder and inexperienced one. And there are actual consequences to their actions in the film. There are. The film does a surprisingly good job of throwing in a few unexpected moments during the second half, and that effectively builds anticipation for the big finale. And in this film's defense, a lot of the comedy is intentional. It is. Karen Mok, in particular, has a hilariously aggressive personality in this movie. She makes fun of everyone and messes with them constantly. And this is especially true with her cop partner. Look out for the inappropriate discussion they have in the cop car. It's pretty funny. There are some other cute moments to enjoy, like the half-naked scuffle in the bathtub. I mean, that's just all fanfare right there, I like the love novel discussion. Was quite cute at the outdoor cafe. So, it's got its moments, I think. Now, as a huge bonus, Yasuaki Kurata has a supporting role as the main bodyguard of the villain. And his screen time is limited, but he makes an impression. And more on that in a minute. Now, in regard to the action, this movie does a good job of having each and every action scene be better than the one that came before it. And it keeps building off of itself. You know what I mean? It does begin with a cheesy action scene. The opening building infiltration it's a little odd. It's a lower octane set piece. Feels somewhat relaxed, nonchalant. Shu Qi defies gravity during multiple moments, and she wears a pair of absurd high heels in the process. Now, there's CGI glass that's used, other computer effects that are obviously fake. I usually laugh while watching the opening sequence. Now, the elevator fight and parking garage shootout are certainly better than the opening scene. The hand-to-hand choreography does get a little bit unrealistic in this scene, but there are some nice and creative moves by the ladies here. Then you get a car chase, which is even better than that scene, with a mostly realistic use of car physics in a parallel shootout in a home. And then the finale is the best set piece in the film. It's like almost a 20-minute finale. Skyrise infiltration scene involving tons of bodyguards and goons. Our protagonists have to use a neat trick to deceive the bad guys, and then it finishes with a 2-on-1 sword fight to the death. And Yasuaki Kurata steals the show during the finale. So, if you're a fan of him, he's a big reason to watch this. Now, when this movie came out, though, people did trash it to a degree, and one of the reasons was that this film focuses more on finesse instead of power. This doesn't have the power and brutality of the Girls with Guns movies that came out in the 80s and 90s, some of which I've been reviewing lately on this channel. This is a correct observation. I agree with it. There's more wire work and slow motion here as well, so I do understand why some people dislike the action design in So Close, but there's quite a bit of creative stuff here. The protagonists use a treasure chest of items, satellite imagery, high-frequency earrings, guns, wall-piercing high heels, miniature grappling hooks, swords, decoy programs, bamboo sticks. It's there's a lot of stuff that they use in this, and I think it's a nice way to show a wide variety of action moments while they eliminate the bad guys. A lot of diversity in this, and the final fight is legit. A lot of fun to watch. But again, I do have kind of a special connection to this movie. I've mentioned before on this channel that Asian horror was the main reason that I was ignited into my love for Asian cinema in general. But the Girls with Guns subgenre of action film was probably the second most important thing back in the day for me, as a gateway into all these industries. And So Close was the movie that got me into that subgenre. And then it was after this that I began to go back and watch, the films of Moon Lee, Yukari Oshima, Michelle Yeoh, Cynthia Khan, all that stuff. So this was a big gateway film for me, and I've seen this movie dozens of times over the years. So I do recommend So Close. It has a pure entertainment value to it. If you can handle some cheesiness, I definitely recommend it. It's available streaming on YouTube and Amazon. It's also available on Blu-ray. Now watch this in the Mandarin language with English subtitles, because I think most of the actors, or at least most of the main actresses, spoke in Mandarin for that dub, so you want to hear their actual voices. So if you have an opinion on this, let me know. I get a feeling this one would be a little bit divisive, but I look forward to your thoughts. And as always, folks, I'll see you next time.